Hello there. Welcome to another reading of Beyond the Story, the 10-year record of Bangtan Sonyeondan. It's the first official book about BTS's 10 years in the music industry. We're about to finish the 4th chapter, so I'm so excited. So, shall we start? So, chapter 4 is Inside Out, and it was talking about the two albums, Wings and You Never Walk Alone. We are still in the Wings era, okay? And we were talking about Blood, Sweat, and Tears and all the tracks, the solo tracks of each member in this album, okay? How they were all able to express their anxieties, their fears, their feelings through this album. Okay. When Dope showcased the members in a constant state of motion, pulling off dramatic moves with no time to breathe, Blood, Sweat, and Tears had them almost completely rooted in place, focusing their entire performance on their faces, running their hands over their own bodies, and making gestures almost reminiscent of choking. The reason behind this style of performance might not have been clear to those who had not been exposed to the other songs in the album or the ongoing narrative of BTS's albums, but the vibe of the performance would be crystal clear even to new audiences. This performance was about sex appeal, bringing together a host of complex elements. Blood, Sweat, and Tears was an intuitive blend of a multitude of messages. There was no doubt that sex appeal was the predominant flavor of the performance, but in a blatant reversal of K-pop industry trends, the members were not the tempters, but the tempted. And when fans wanted to delve into these hidden meanings one by one, researching the lyrics and the symbolism behind the music video, they no longer needed to look for Bangtan Boys or Bulletproof Boy Scouts in search engines. It was now as simple as typing BTS. Korean fans were not the only ones typing BTS into their search bars now. Wings recorded 751,301 net shipments in 2016, topping the Gaon chart that year by tripling the performance of The Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 2, which had itself performed markedly better than its predecessor. Wings was also ranked 26th on the Billboard 200, the unprecedented top performance among Korean artists, and was the only album by Korean artists to remain on the chart for 2 weeks running. But even these unbelievable showings did not completely explain the things that happened following the release of Wings. The 2017 BTS Live Trilogy Episode 3, The Wings Tour, which kicked off about 4 months later, took BTS to 12 stops around the globe and was a bona fide world tour. While the previous tour, 2016, BTS Live, the most beautiful moment in life on stage epilogue, was exclusive to Asia, the 2017 tour also involved concerts in Chile, Brazil, Australia, and a whopping 3 cities in the United States. Counting from the first days of the two tours, this explosive change had occurred in a matter of 6 months. BTS had performed previously in these countries with the 2015 BTS Live Trilogy, Episode 2, The Red Bullet, but the venues then had been relatively tiny at only several thousand seats. The 2017 venues were massive in comparison, with BTS performing at an arena-class venue in America, a country where they had no official promotional presence. By the time the team landed in America for the tour, they were a phenomenon. Billboard magazine covered the Newark show, stating the following: with their loyal army cheering them on from start to finish, the 7-member boy band kick-started the US leg of the worldwide 2017 BTS Live Trilogy Episode 3, The Wings Tour, with a nearly 3-hour-long show that incorporated the group's most boisterous hits and the introspective songs of its record-breaking Wings album. And now they perform in stadiums. Everything pointed toward the dawn of a new era. Even with Wings, BTS had neither produced English-language songs nor heavily promoted themselves to the Americas, and did not have the backing of influential international media channels to carry their names across language barriers as with popular artists from the US and UK. In spite of this, more and more people came to recognize BTS, searching for the group on Twitter and YouTube. In January 2017, 2 months before the Chile stop of the tour, Chilean public service broadcaster TVN covered local army lining up overnight to purchase tickets to the show. Army in every country seemed to take after their Korean counterparts, going wild for BTS and growing exponentially in number. Next subheading: All we want is love. Ironically, the surge in popularity did not particularly affect BTS, or to be more accurate, they did not let the change affect them. According to J-Hope, BTS already knew about the international following they attracted after Wings. He reminisces, the results we got back were, well, a little different. These responses from overseas media were a little like something out of another world. But no matter how the world changed, their own world remained unshaken. Jungkook explains, well, for me, I was still doing the same thing I always do, and I had to keep improving, and I was working hard to keep releasing albums one by one. So, to be honest, our popularity did not really feel real to me, but then our results kept getting better and better, and we could see the data and how our old records were getting broken one after another. So I started feeling like I was in a daze. It was fascinating. So I just felt like, I guess I'm doing all right. That's an understatement. I did not want to focus on the numbers, just keep doing what we always did. And that's what makes them special. They were grounded, humble, their ethos, their work ethics, was just to keep working hard. V2 is of a similar mind. I was really late to realize how popular we'd gotten. I was just happy, having a good time with the other members. That is so Taeyang. According to Jimin, this attitude stemmed from a BTS style vibe they developed together. Call me conceited, but I did not spend a lot of time being aware of just how popular we were. No, that's not actually being conceited, it's the opposite. Someone who's conceited will keep bragging that they're popular. And Jimin is not conceited, nor are the other six members. I once got a question about our popularity, and I replied, at this point, it would be rude to our fans to say that we do not really know how popular we are. So, footnote that the question was during a press conference celebrating the release of the Love Yourself Her album on September 18, 2017. Okay. But before that, we never did our work with the mindset of, hey, we got more popular. Our world was limited to just our team and the audience, and it still is. So we could see how our venues were getting bigger and bigger, but we did not get a real sense of our popularity increasing. Uh, they're just, I don't know, I'm running out of words. They're special human beings. Yes, they are. And, their parents, their families, also deserve also that acknowledgement because that also stems from their upbringing. And they're very close to their families. I mean, it was not all smooth sailing, but all their families really support them now and are there for them. So, yes. Ironically, their skyrocketing popularity had a sobering effect on Suga, he explains. We try not to look at responses to our work. It was even more so back then. I think I had this really big concern like, what if I got conceited and start slacking off? Oh, sugar. No. The fact that you ask those questions, it's the people who ask these questions, and who worry about whether they're good enough or will they be able to continue doing good work and all that. They're the ones who will succeed and who will make sure that they follow through and they deliver good work because they will keep trying hard. Considering everything they had fought through until the release of Wings, Suga's attitude was inevitable. The lyrics from the unit and group songs, following the set of solo tracks on Wings, spoke for themselves. It's so hard, I don't know if this is the right path. I'm so confused. Never leave me alone. This is from the song Lost. What I'm saying here, Bae, gibberish to some people, Bae. Change your dissing pattern, Bae. It's from BTS Cypher 4. All over and around, hell yeah. Online and offline, hell yeah. From the song Am I Wrong? Some people jeered us when we went on stage. So we had this idea that there were still quite a lot of people who were hostile to us. Suga's statement applied to a number of stages, including the 2016 MAMA, one of Korea's biggest music awards. 2 weeks earlier, on November 19, BTS had been awarded one of the three grand prizes at the MMA or Melon Music Awards, the Album of the Year Award, the team's first ever grand prize win. And at the MAMA, they would win the Artist of the Year award. But even as they took center stage as the clear winners of the year, they remained targets of hate. Some social media users organized cyberbullying attacks on days when BTS had a concert or was receiving an award. Oh my goodness, these people. Don't they have lives? Oh, what else do they do with their time? Obviously, they don't do anything else but hate. I mean, who are these people? Are these from other fandoms or like organized attacks? Are they being paid for these stuff? Like, I can't wrap my head around this stuff. Oh my goodness. Jimin reveals how he felt at the MAMA performance. We gave our performance with a lot of pride in being able to show off our efforts. I think we had a lot of people watching, so we were like, check this out. Indeed, BTS needed to put on a performance that captured audiences at the MAMA. 2 years earlier, at their first MAMA performance, they had been exhausted, desperate, angry, and determined to counter the frigid stares of anyone who was not ARMY. But there was no need for that anymore. No one could look down on them now. They had gone from sharing performance time with Block B to getting 11 minutes all to themselves. And then it becomes nearly 40 minutes at the 2019 MAMA. Yes. This also meant, however, that they had to prove their mettle, that they deserved the title of Artist of the Year, attained with the support of ARMY around the world. They had to silence those who continued to put them down with a performance that went beyond just good. They had to pull off something spectacular. And they did. And they set the bar for MAMA performances so high that it looked like every BTS performance looked like a concert of theirs. BTS made that goal a reality. Their performance was attention-grabbing from the word go, and no one could tear their eyes away. Jungkook was hanging in the air. Before audiences could process their shock, they were treated to a powerful dance solo by J-Hope, who faded into the darkness and was followed by Jimin, dancing alone with eyes covered in red cloth. Then J-Hope emerged again, dancing in parallel on the other half of the stage. When the song ended, all 7 members walked into the spotlight together for blood, sweat, and tears. In the performance following the song, V fell to the floor and pulled up his shirt to expose his back, revealing a pair of gaping wounds from a pair of missing wings. By reenacting otherworldly scenes from the Blood, Sweat, and Tears music video on stage, BTS stole the show at the MAMA, enthralling the audience. But Blood, Sweat, and Tears was only the centerpiece of an 11-minute block packed with powerful and alluring sights and sounds. J-Hope and Jimin's opening performances in Intro Boy Meets Evil started off as a pair of solo movements that dovetailed into one dramatic dance, and the tension of the performance carried on, unbroken, into Blood, Sweat, and Tears before exploding in a burst of energy with a host of back dancers in fire, Jimin reminisces. In one sense, the dance from that stage was exactly the type that fit my strengths, in both direction and in the vibe of the song. So I got this strong feeling that I was really making an effort to genuinely express this song. And expressing this song was an incredible feeling for me as a performer too. Jimin's sense of accomplishment applied to all BTS members. The eyes of the world were on them, as their haunting visuals, impeccable narrative composition, and captivating performance made MAMA history. They had shown army and non-army alike that they had what it took to take charge at a massive event like the MAMA. V has this to say about the first ever grand prize in 2016. It was like, it felt like a miracle. To be honest, just being nominated was awesome. But when we got the award, the feeling I personally got was I knew Bangtan would win. No matter what anyone says, Bangtan is going to win. Love Taeyong's confidence. And BTS did indeed secure victory at the MAMA that year, not just by taking the grand prize, but by proving themselves worthy of the prize. Walking this path, I always thought, one day we're going to get an award. I put myself into this group called BTS, and I had faith that this team would win. Like if I was with these people, I was going to succeed. V's unwavering trust in the other members was what allowed BTS to fight through the wave of hate. Like with the other members, Big Hit was my first company, and I debuted through this first company. I'd never even heard about what other teams and companies were like. So when I looked at the other members, it's just like I became fearless. For example, they're the kind of people I could brag about at school, saying, "This is my Young." From the beginning, these people were celebrities in my eyes. Beautifully said, V. Together they were invincible. It was a sense of solidarity that tied together not only the 7 members of BTS, but BTS with ARMY. In this context, Wings was the musical expression of their growing bonds. The solo tracks allowed each member to confess his deepest fears. The unit and group songs from Lost to 21st Century Girl were the team's united messages to the world, and 2-3 or Do Set was their message to ARMY. As an official message to ARMY, 2-3 or Do Set began with the lyrics, "Let's only walk flower paths." Such words I cannot say. Though they were all alone and disconnected at first, BTS would sing together to the world about their pain and meet the people who lent an ear to their music. But even though they know everything the fans did for their sake, BTS could not promise that everything would always be fine. In spite of this, the track ended on an optimistic note with the lyrics, "Erase all the sad memories, take each other's hand, and smile." Wings was an encapsulation of BTS's journey thus far as they stepped onto the stage and formed a community through ARMY. As the lyrics to 2-3 showed, they were no longer fighting alone. They were moving forward together. For better days, because we are together. Are the lyrics. This marked the moment BTS and ARMY became inextricably intertwined. They went beyond the traditional connection between artist and fandom, becoming a tight-knit unit defying precedent and definition. And that is why people that are not familiar with BTS and ARMY do not understand the connection or the bond. There's a lot of dismissals and disparaging remarks, and those from the Western, industry, music industry, the US, the UK, and all other industries, because their template, their understanding of artists and fandom, especially with boy bands or any group of artists, is really, there's this barrier, and yes, they'll have a lot of fans, but there's a disconnect between artists and fans, and really, they can't even begin to imagine the connection that BTS has with ARMY. So it's easy for them to just describe army armies as all these stereotypical descriptions, which really is terrible and wrong. And there is nothing really wrong with having fans who are of a young age. That means they're very good in terms of they've got good taste. They know which artists to follow and admire. But yeah, they're missing the depth of Army, because Army is huge, of made up of people from different countries, different backgrounds, different genders, different cultures, and different ages, from very, very young, like toddlers even, to our seniors. Yes. So, yeah. It was for these reasons that the 2-year journey from the most beautiful moment in life series to Wings boiled down to one keyword: love. When BTS won the very first grand prize, the prevailing emotion that overcame J-Hope was not accomplishment or triumph, he explains. That was when our feeling of being loved reached a peak. That award made us feel like we went through a lot and we really worked hard. Jungkook, who like the rest of BTS, also shed tears as they won the MAMA Artist of the Year award, looked around at his fellow members and at the fans in the audience. Man, we went through a lot. The things we did up to that point flashed before my eyes. That was the first thing that came to mind because the other members were at my side and Army was cheering us on from the seats, and it was all coming at us at the same time. Suga states that he understood exactly what the fans' love meant to him. Now I look at the fan responses on occasion. Well, a lot actually, Suga laughs, to build up self esteem, because I get the feeling that I need to know that I am loved. Oh, you are loved, Yoongi. All of you, all 7 of you, are loved, respected, admired, and yes, loved. BTS longed for success, but when that success finally became reality, what they then began to want was, ironically, love. That is, love from ARMY. In 2016, Jimin celebrated his birthday on a music show set for a pre-recording shoot. The ARMY on site sang him happy birthday, and Jimin came to treasure his birthday for the first time in his life. When asked to elaborate, he replies, "Before, my birthday was just something that's nice to get congratulated for, no more than that. Like an excuse to see my friends again or get some attention." Jimin laughs. "That was what I liked. Otherwise, I did not place too much meaning on it. But then, right in front of me, there were these people I loved, people I wanted to work hard for, but they were the ones celebrating for me. That feeling, it's hard to put into words." Final subheading: and to friends. After the success After the successes of 2016, marked by the keywords victory and love, BTS kicked off the new year by stepping into the spotlight yet again, this time from a completely unexpected direction. The media reported that in January 2017, BTS donated 100 million Korean won to April 16 Seawolf Families for Truth and a Safer Society, an organization composed of families of the victims of the 2014 sinking of the Seawolf ferry. Because of this charitable act, people began to interpret Spring Day from the February 2017 special album You Never Walk Alone, a spin-off of Wings, as a reference to the 2014 tragedy. The lyrics begin with the words, "Miss You," and the music video featured mountains of clothing, which were taken to symbolize the 304 dead and missing from the capsized ferry, an interpretation fueled further by the fact that most of the casualties had been high school students on a school trip. The investigative TV show Unanswered Questions on the SBS channel even featured the song on its April 2017 episode covering the third anniversary of the sinking. BTS never gave an official explanation behind the meaning of Spring Day, save for brief comments at the press conference at the beginning of the 2017 BTS Live Trilogy Episode 3, The Wings Tour, stating that they would like to leave the interpretation up to the listeners. According to RM, Spring Day began as a message to friends. When I wrote the lyrics to the song, I remembered I really tried to write to my friends. Friends like the ones who left my side, the ones I see once in a while but are so far away that even though we're under the same sky, in some ways they're someplace else. Suga, the other lyricist for Spring Day, is more specific. I just resented my friend so much. I wonder if that's the same friend in his Dear Friend song, from his solo mixtape D2. He adds, because I could not meet them even though I really wanted to see them. Later, Suga would quote lyrics from Spring Day in Dear My Friend, featuring Kim Jong-won of Nell, part of his May 2020 mixtape D2, implying that the two songs were about the same friend. According to him, the friend was a friend he held very dear, but a number of things happened between them and they drifted apart and could not meet again. At one point, when the longing got to be too much, he even reached out to acquaintances to reconnect with a friend. Unfortunately, there would be no reunion. Oh, poor Sugar. I'm still hoping that one day, they will reconnect. When I was going through a hard time, that friend was the only one I could lean on. When I was a trainee, we'd talk together. Hey, you think I can really debut? And break into sobs. And then make resolutions together like, let's conquer the whole world. But now I wonder how that friend is doing. That's why I resented them. I hope that friend is doing okay. I really, really hope they will reconnect. Suga had suffered a great deal before Spring Day, but that suffering was what had gotten him so far. Unfortunately, his old friend was no longer at his side. For him, Spring Day was a way of coming to terms with emotions that continued to burn inside his heart after all those years. The resulting track became a source of comfort to him. Even back then, I did not remember the last time I was uplifted by listening to music. It had been a really long time, so at the time I did not know. I do know now, though. You know it all. You're my best friend. The morning will come again. No darkness, no season can last forever. So the lyrics from Spring Day. Sugar was far from the only one comforted by Spring Day. The seawall disaster had left an indelible mark on the season in Korea, and spring was no longer purely a time of warmth and restoration. April in particular remained a cruelest month for those left traumatized by the sinking. RM explains, studying art, I learned that a lot of writers talk about springtime as a cruel season. Like T.S. Eliot's poem, The Waste Land, says, April is the cruelest month. Being exposed to works like that, I thought, why did the idea of springtime being cruel never occur to me? But then again, spring can also be thought of as something that happens at the end of winter, and Spring Day is about a certain feeling of missing someone. That's why I think people like this song. Indeed, Spring Day came to be a symbol of the season for Koreans. Even now, it remains on the Melon Top 100 playlist and rises again in the standings in spring each year, a testament to its sustained popularity. The hopes are implanted into the song blossomed beautifully. And Spring Day was the one that topped the iTunes charts, US iTunes charts last week. I wanted to make a song that would be long lasting in Korea. You did just that, RM. RM's recollection of the production process gives a sense of destiny or fate to every aspect of Spring Day. He recounts, even now, it's an unprecedented experience. But when I wrote the melody for the first time, I just knew this is it. Experienced musicians say that some songs emerged out of the blue in only 5 minutes, and for me, Spring Day was exactly that. The period from the donation to the seawall victims' families to the release of You Never Walk Alone was a turning point in BTS's career. Spring Day made no direct references to the ferry disaster, but was and remains a universal song of consolation and support for those hurt by similar incidents. At the same time, the donation was a show of determination from BTS to do their part as members of society. Not Today, another new track on You Never Walk Alone, sent a reassuring message to all the underdogs in the world. Till the day of the victory, fight. Never kneel down, never fall apart. From the Most Beautiful Moment in Life series to Wings and You Never Walk Alone, BTS sang of previously disconnected individuals coming together in solidarity through a community. It was a journey of growth where an adolescent learned to look beyond the self and toward the lives of others. Indeed, BTS would go on to find even more ways to contribute to the world. Part of their actions stemmed from a desire to give back to ARMY for their love and support, to show their biggest fans that BTS were now capable of taking the lead. They were no longer simply walking together. They were now trailblazers, forging a new, more meaningful path forward. BTS would go from telling their own stories to listening to other voices, actively seeking out meaningful causes to champion and defend. RM discusses how BTS began to perceive the world around this time, whether it was for the people listening to our music or for myself. I scolded myself to have something to say about the world around me. After all, I started with Nas and Eminem. In one sense, we could be said to be in an unstable and hypocritical position, but in spite of that, there will always be something to say. When they fought their way out of the egg, they found a seemingly endless world filled with things to do, even after being named Artist of the Year. And that ends chapter 4. Yes. And just to look at the new You Never Walk Alone album, so it's their second special album, released in February 13, 2017. And the tracks are Intro, Boy Meets Evil, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Begin, Lie, Stigma, First Love, Reflection, Mama, Awake, Lost, BTS Cypher 4, Am I Wrong, 21st Century Girl, 2-3, Spring Day, Not Today, those are the new tracks, Outro, Wings, and a supplementary story, You Never Walk Alone. Well, that was a wonderful chapter. So next time we will start chapter 5, A Flight That Never Lands, and we'll talk about the Love Yourself trilogy. Yes. So thank you so much for spending time with me once again, tuning in and listening to this story. I hope that you all will have a great week ahead of you and enjoy the monuments, BTS monuments, Beyond the Star documentary on Disney Plus that will be out tomorrow. And I hope to see you soon again, or you'll tune in to listen to the next reading, yeah, chapter 5. So until then, thank you so much. This is Beyond 1800 with BTS. So it looks like it froze again, but yes. Anyway, have a good day and night, everyone. Thank you once again. Until next time.